Welcome to my video on finding the zeros of a quadratic equation using the square root method. So what I want to look at in this video is kind of a special case of the quadratic equation. So here's the basic quadratic equation. We've got ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. That's our standard form. We covered that in a previous video. And we will take the special case here where b is equal to 0, and this gets us into a case that makes things a little simpler to solve the quadratic equation. So in the standard form, if b goes to 0, we're going to get the b dropping out, so we get ax squared plus c is equal to 0. Now if we take the c to the other side, take it over there, we take minus c on both sides of the equation, we get ax squared is equal to minus c. Now we can rearrange this term by taking the a over here, putting in the denominator. And so what we can do is we can define this number p, which is just another constant. It just happens to be minus c divided by a, but we're just going to call it a constant. So now we've got an equation in this form. X squared is equal to this constant p. So one requirement we have, p must be a non-negative number, meaning it's got to be greater than or equal to 0. So now this becomes our new standard form with p as our constant. Now we know that we can factor this. This is one of the special cases of x squared minus p is equal to 0 can be factored into x minus the square root of p times the quantity of x plus the square root of p is equal to 0. We can verify that with the FOIL method. First outer, inner, last, and that will give us the x squared minus p is equal to 0. So therefore we know that x is going to be equal to the square root of p, or x is equal to minus the square root of p. So in general, we come up with this relationship right here. When we have a equation in the form basically where the b, or the x term, the coefficient in front of the x term is 0, so if x squared is equal to p, and p is greater than or equal to 0, then we get x is equal to the square root plus or minus of p. So now let's do an example. Let's take the case where x squared is equal to 4. So that's our quadratic equation now. In this case, p is equal to 4. So we know that x is going to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 4, which is equal to plus or minus 2. Because that's just the square root of 4. And that's going to be a plus or minus. So there's the answer to our problem. We know that x in this simple equation is going to be plus or minus 2. So now let's just check that out, though. Let's just do a quick check. And so we know that minus 2 quantity squared, does that equal to 4? And it sure does, because minus 2 squared is 4. And then we do 2 squared, does that equal to 4? And sure enough, it does. I hope you learned a little bit about the special case of solving a quadratic equation using the square root method. If you did, please give me a like, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.